You know, when I gave thought to what I would say tonight about Rogers, it became crystal clear to me there were three areas I wanted to cover very quickly but very succinctly. First is the T. Rogers Wade I know on a personal basis. Second is the T. Rogers Wade I know on a professional basis. And third is the legacy T. Rogers Wade leaves for Georgia, which few men or women could ever hope to obtain. On the personal basis, let me tell you, he married way over his head. Marcia Rogers is one of the most patient, kind, beautiful people I have ever known. Marcia Wade. T. Rogers Wade could never have done so well as to marry Marcia. Marcia, you're a beautiful lady. Thank you for your contribution. Rogers, I've torn up all your fraternity brothers' stories they told me to tell. I'm not going to do that because you know far too many on me. But on a personal basis, let me just tell you, Rogers is a great guy. I'm not sure exactly when I first met Rogers, but it had something to do with a fish fry at the waterworks for Herman Talmadge, if I'm not mistaken. My father was a huge Herman Talmadge supporter and friend, and that's really how Rogers and I first got our connection. In fact, Herman Talmadge used to say when I got involved in politics as a Republican that I was a Talmadge Republican, whatever the heck that might be, I don't know. But I got to know Rogers early and often in my political career and came to respect his insight and his nurturing spirit that he had for others. You've heard already from Will Ball and others about how their careers began with Roger Wade's nurturing of them. Mine is the same way. On a personal basis, I would not be where I am today had it not been for my friendship and the relationship I have with Rogers Wade. Now let me get to the professional business for a second. As I came in tonight and I started seeing everybody that came in the room, you immediately saw Rogers Wade's legacy in terms of professionalism. Nathan, there's not a one of us here tonight that wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for Rogers Wade. His insight, his understanding of our state, his ability to bring people together, his ability to be bipartisan in everything he does, not because he wants to be bipartisan, but because he wants to do what is right for Georgia. Think about it for a second. In the last 4 decades, whom else have you known in our state that has supported Republican governors and Democratic senators and Republican senators, has brought people together from all parties, from all races, from all philosophies, for what? Not for the betterment of Rogers Wade, but for the betterment of our state. Very few people professionally have done what Rogers Wade has done for our state, never asking for a penny in return, only asking for Georgia to be the great state Georgia can be. And lastly, Rogers' legacy. There's a poem that I like that goes something like this. I saw them tearing a building down, a gang of men in my hometown. With a heave and a ho and a yes, yes yell, they swung a beam and a sidewall fell. And I asked the foreman, are these men as skilled as the one you'd hire if you had to build? And they laughed and said, oh, no, not these. For the most common of neighbor is all I need, for I can destroy in a day or two what it takes a builder 10 years to do. In the career of Rogers Wade, he has built 2 great institutions in our state that will last long beyond all of us. Institutions that, because of his labor, his love, and his passion, serve our state well. Dink Neesmith mentioned one, and that's Leadership Georgia. An institution that has built over 40 years many of our state's leaders, has built an insight of our state, urban to rural, rural to urban, we would have never had were it not for Rogers Wade's leadership, his building of that institution. And then the Georgia Public Policy Foundation. I can tell you as one who was in public life in the early 1970s and then the 80s and then the 90s and the year 2000, the Georgia Public Policy Institute is the institution that has brought about common sense, pragmatism, and realistic ideals for our state. No one in this state deserves more credit for the great institutions he has built than Rogers Wade has been doing, building Leadership Georgia and building the Georgia Public Policy Foundation. So tonight, on the occasion that the giver of the Freedom Award has so often given, I am honored to honor my friend Rogers Wade tonight and honored to be at the place and time that he too receives the Freedom Award. Because it is great Georgians and great Americans like T. Rogers Wade and his wife Marcia that make the United States of America the greatest country on the face of this earth. May God bless Rogers, Marcia, and his family and her family, and may God bless the United States of America, the greatest country on the face of this earth. God bless all of you.